All right, new episode. Today's topic is a delicate one. It's one I've kind of put off for a little bit just because I really wanted to do it right and to think it through. And I realized it's just going to take multiple videos. So today's topic is about nerve pain and specifically sciatica, but we'll talk about nerve pain in general and my experiences with it and what I've seen help people. So of course, entertainment channel, not medical advice. Probably don't need to say that. But let's talk about it. So first, sciatica, the symptoms of this are going to be any sort of numbness, burning, tingling, sharp, radiating pain down the leg, from the low back. Could go anywhere just to the glute, could be just centralized in the spine area, could go down to the hamstring, all the way down to the calf, to the bottom of the foot, around to the big toe. Sometimes it doesn't even follow a straight line, it can be spotty. And the actual sensation could be more of pain, could be more of mine was a TV static, could be just a weird tingling. It can be hard to identify exactly sometimes, but symptoms along that path after a back injury may point to sciatica nerve pain. This can be a really alarming thing. You think, oh my God, I have a sciatica. That sounds super serious. Most of you guys have probably felt a nerve sensation before in your life. When you were 12 years old and you rubbed your elbow on the edge of a table and it was and just got shot in the elbow, that is a nerve sensation. That's called pinching or rubbing a nerve. Now imagine that, but with a disc or a spinal injury or muscular swelling, anything locally in the spine, pressing on a bigger nerve right in the center of your body. That could be debilitating. And some of you guys may be living in that exact debilitating state. And I know how hard this gets. We'll talk about that later. But symptoms can be a lot of different sensations. The causes of it, this is where it's interesting. It could be from a disc injury, a herniated or bulged disc, and then that protruding of the disc is pushing on nearby nerve roots at the base of the spine. Any kind of impingement on the nerve at the top can cause pain all the way down. So you could also have sciatica specifically from causes that are not disc injuries. It could be from the spinal muscles themselves. Any swelling, the nitty-gritty stuff. Let's show really zoomed into the spinal column and the vertebrae. There's the joint, the facet joint you can see in the back. You see the vertebrae stacked. There's also ligaments on each side, all covering around the vertebrae. And then there's also muscles that run right in between all of that. And then even through, there's usually in the graph, they're yellow, these rubber band type structures that are nerves, and they run through right in between all of that. So a disc could protrude and pinch, or even a small muscle like we talk about, multifidus, rotatorus, interspinalis, etc. There's a lot of them. If one of those starts to swell and get injured, well, that can cause swelling right on top of the nerve and cause pain with zero disc injury. It could also happen lower. Anywhere that the nerve runs through, you could get impingement or pain, and it could cause symptoms lower. So if you have a disc injury, it can cause pain from the disc injury all the way lower. Muscles in the spine, the same. And then even the outer hip, piriformis syndrome, you could have an extremely tight or overreactive, intense piriformis muscle and some of the other outer hip muscles that will cause nerve pain down the glute, down the hamstring, even sometimes with zero back injury on an MRI. The reason those go hand in hand is because usually when you injure the back, there's some sort of seizing and muscle spasms and protective mechanisms that your body learns, and a lot of it's in the outer hips. So usually with a back injury, even if you have piriformis stuff going on, it's a result of the back injury. Sometimes not. Sometimes tight hips cause sciatica too. So now that we see the causes usually relate to the back, they could be from the hips, could be disc or not. Also, I mean, think about it. If you got the same way you could zing your elbow and have a nerve feeling, in theory, you could get like hit in the back of the leg super hard with something that pinches a nerve in your hamstring, the same sciatic nerve branches, and it could cause sciatica symptoms down the leg. That doesn't really happen. That's just to explain the concept. Wherever the cause is, there's usually pain below. Most of the time it's from low back. The onset of pain, this is where you can continue learning. I'm just gonna throw info at you guys, and you pick up what relates to you and leave what doesn't, because this is a very nuanced talk. But the onset could be immediately after an injury. It could be herniated disc, 3 p.m. Tuesday, and then 3:01 you have sciatica, and then you darn sure know for a fact there is a bulge disc pushing on a nerve. There could also be, like my case, I herniated a disc. I felt absolute restriction to go forward. I shouldn't have. I went to my strength and conditioning coach in college because it was in a training session of college athletics in the weight room. And I went to him after herniating it, and he had me lie on this sticky little like pointy mat thing and then hug my knees and then sit in a flexed position for 20 minutes on the spike mat because he was dead set convinced there's no way I herniated a disc. Probably the worst thing to do to a freshly herniated disc. Make sure all the jelly oozes out. Squeeze it like a donut. So if you ever wonder why I'm convicted against incompetence, I've had my days. So onset could be immediate. It could be what happened to me. I didn't even have nerve pain though until weeks later. And I actually didn't recognize it as nerve pain. It felt like this weird TV static or thrushing, like blood flow feeling. I thought it was vascular. I would be trying to jog and moving around and I would feel this like whooshing. And I didn't register it was nerve pain until it got worse. And then it led all the way a little bit lower. I realized, okay, this is directly from my back injury. But it wasn't for weeks after, maybe even a month or two. So the onset could be during an injury, immediately after, weeks to months, maybe a year after. You could also have sciatica gradually come on with back tightness with no injury. So the onset sort of reflects the real cause of that nerve pain. Just in general, blanket statement, nerves will feel pain because there is pressure and pinching, some sort of local problem on the nerve. You're pressing on it or it's being pulled on too tight. Something is going on at the nerve for it to cause pain. Nerves don't really tear. I'm sure it could, but it is a reflection of something else near the nerve that's causing pain on it. So first point is just what sciatica is. Second, the reason it can be so tricky and annoying to fix is because fixing sciatica quickly becomes a game of whack-a-mole, meaning you fix one problem of it and then you have nerve pain somewhere else. And then you get it from going down your foot, but then it's worse in the hip. And then you even fix maybe the nerve pain on that side, you get it on the other side, and even further and further and further. And the reason why is because you're trying to isolate and fix the symptom of nerve pain, which is good, let's do that in the beginning. But if you don't realize the whole structure of the back has to get healthy, the integrity, the alignment, everything on the spine has to relax. The muscle tone has to get stronger and not tight. The swelling after training has to go down. You need to be able to train your spine and spinal muscles and not get super inflamed after. You need to make it through a long day of walking and standing and not get swelling or inflammation and pain in the back because that can flare it up. So there's so many things that could be causing it. You fix one, you realize there's more. You fix that and further. So it gets confusing. But once we're past the idea of fix the one problem, fix the nerve pain, then we realize what we have on our hands is just fix the back. So the first hope to fixing nerve pain is going to be, at least if there's a disc herniation, monitor that. Do the PT protocols in the beginning, work with your clinician, whoever you're with, get relief, do the press-ups, get into prone extension, try to localize the nerve pain. That's what they're gonna have you do. The goal is, if you have nerve pain from your back to your hamstring, how you know it's going right with your approach is that the nerve pain is just getting more just the back and it doesn't branch out so much. Localizing the nerve pain is the first approach. This is the sort of stuff that I would hope you're working with somebody in person with and can kind of help you step by step, because sometimes you might do the right stuff, and for your case, it doesn't help, because all nerve pain can have slightly different causes like we talked about. So someone has to kind of be there to help you trial and error through weeks, strengthen, brace, all the lumbo-pelvic stuff, big three, all the stuff you probably have already done. That's the start. Once you realize that the cause can change and maybe you have nerve pain months after, that's really what this video is for, not day one of nerve pain. There's better videos, people who could go on the basics of that more in depth. I'm here, what do you do after it's been lingering and you're really struggling? A reframe of the mind, a new approach, long game. And so the cause can change. Let's think about, like we said earlier, disc could bulge, cause the nerve pain. The disc could actually reabsorb and no longer be the issue, and a lot of times there's spontaneous reabsorption where the disc goes back in the column. Sometimes the just swelling of the disc and the injury from the herniation relaxes and heals. And now what you have after, which most of us had if you had a back injury, is this secondary dysfunction and pain and restriction and weird firing patterns. And so hip shift, pelvic tilts, any postural change like that, if you know your back doesn't fire quite right and it's weak, all this stuff could prolong your nerve pain longer than the actual disc injury itself. And another thing to keep in mind is you may have a muscle memory protective mechanism in your back for when you reach and you feel a little out of your range where you're comfortable or strong, your back, out of habit, back when you were really in the loop, could seize up, and you could have this sort of muscle memory domino reaction where one little wrong move causes a muscle spasm or seizing. One disc gets pulled, one muscle fires, then the other thing locks up, then your whole back gets stiff, and then when your back gets stiff, maybe your piriformis gets used to getting tight, your hips lock up. It could go a bunch of different ways. I don't know your exact case, but all that stuff can get really confusing. The point is you have to build resilience and desensitize so that stuff doesn't happen as much. And understand that nerve pain, what it really is, like we talked about earlier, it doesn't just mean disc injury. It could be other things. I started to have weird nerve pain wrapping around my ribs from my back injury. None of my doctors had an idea about that. I didn't realize till later that that could have been caused by muscles in my back that got tight from the back injury, that go up a little higher, could be pinching on the nerves that go around. And so I'm probably being super, super redundant. This isn't going to be a clean, crisp video. If you have nerve pain, I'm sure you're willing to sit through and find your value. All right, it's starting to rain. So let's talk about the approach of how I'm going to try to help you through this with this new long game, a new focus, not just the disc injury or not just the one obsessive problem, but the whole back holistically, strong, mobile, resilient, gives you the best chance to get out of nerve pain. So first, don't re-aggravate it. Anything that's causing pain, try not to lean into, specifically nerve pain. Because from the last time you really messed up your nerve, there's a healing time frame from that. If we show that picture again of the healing timeline, the adaptation on the y-axis, the weeks on the x-axis, you can see nerves might take 10, 12 weeks to fully adapt and heal from the last time you zinged it and really hurt it. So if you really messed up your nerve in January, you could do all the right stuff in February and it still might feel wrong just because it's healing. So that's why it can be tricky. Just try not to re-aggravate it. Work with your body, not against it, with the pain. The approach we're going to take is building spinal integrity and picking up where PT left off. So a lot of the stuff you may do in PT of these press-ups and extending for relief, pushing the disc, if there is any sort of protruding on the nerves or swelling, usually, not always, usually extension gives the nerve the least stretch, helps it relax, and takes out some of the protruding of the bone, disc, muscle, whatever it is, pushing on the nerve. So if you found relief in extension, our goal is to now build strength here. And my favorite way would be the back extension holds. Build extension strength at neutral and start working up to your 2-minute standard on that. After which, we got further levels, the most important progression for the low back video. There's that. So building the spinal integrity from the strength of the muscles, getting tension even with the joints of the disc, doing the holds, is going to give your back the best chance to be aligned. If that disc is going to reabsorb, getting proper strength and flexibility back and desensitization in the spine is going to give it the best chance. So if your nerve pain is caused by just a straight disc problem, you still have a better chance by training the spine directly, never working through pain, but that is definitely going to give you a better chance of that reabsorbing and healing properly than if you just wait a year and do nothing, but still have to move in life, but not as controlled and with strength. So also next approach, build up the back from the relief to the strength. We got that, the back extension. You've heard me talk about it over and over. That may take months, but that is definitely the most direct way. Next, work, like I said, nerve pain could be caused by things lower. Let's work out some of those issues. Let's do first some stretching of the outer hip and try to get opening up of the piriformis and the glute min and glute med, some of those outer hip muscles that could be compressing on the nerve, maybe even strengthen them with internal rotation and abduction, and get the proper firing and tone of the muscle so it's not compressing and freaking out. Every time your back spasms, your hips could be less likely to also get tight and compress the nerve at the hip. And a large part of this will be just reteaching your back to not freak out and become desensitized to movement and tension. And with that, if your back is better off on the back extension, your hips are more opened up and strong, when you accidentally go out of your zone of where you should be moving for right now, hopefully one day that's not a thing, but if you reach weird, instead it's just a little, oh, okay, don't do that, and you're fine, and it's not zing, this tightens up, oh, there's a muscle spasm, okay, that hip is throbbing, and that can perpetuate. So working everything in the back, outer hips, reteaching the back, it's okay to fire, it's okay to reach. That's gonna be through the training that we do of the spine. And then once we're trying to get to the nerves itself, you can go from the ground up, and the posterior stretch progression I use with members is start as far away from the back as we can. So don't even start trying to round the back right away and stretch the nerves out there. First, while you're working on the top down problems, work a calf stretch. I'll just show a video. Work a slant or wall calf stretch, and just picking up the toes, if your nerves can tolerate it, it will pull tension all through the nerves. So the nerves are like rubber bands all the way from the back to the feet, down the back of the legs to the toes. Just picking up and lowering can change the tension on the nerves. That's called nerve gliding, which again is not really the point of what we're at. We're just going to be picking up and stretching the musculature and the ankle and starting to get some of the flexibility back on the back side of our body. But while we're working on everything here with strength carefully, first working the calf raise to get the ankle and calf opened up. I'm sorry, not the calf raise, the calf slant stretch. And then gradually, as you get more tolerant there, we can work to elephant walks with a flat back, very high up, simply for testing the waters of nerve tension. It's not even about building hamstring flexibility to the max. Starting with the toes up, getting the calf opened up, then starting to move the legs and get the hamstring tension there, the back of the knees getting tension. If your nerves can tolerate that, elephant walks to lower and lower degrees without flaring up, and you're building your back extension, you're getting closer to being able to go all the way down again without nerve pain. And we only picked this goal because this is a very common place where nerve pain will come back up. It's one thing to never have nerve pain just because you're sitting carefully, but no, you can't put your shoe on. It's another thing to not have nerve pain no matter what you do. And so, structural integrity of the spine, keep building very carefully. The low back needs to be built with the back extension over time. That could take a year. I don't have the time frames, but we have to build. The outer hip, strengthen, stretch, it's a must. Work from the ground up now with the posterior stretching. Everywhere that the nerves run, we're gonna start to stretch that, but from the bottom up. Calf stretch, elephant walks. Last step would be Jefferson curls once the back extension's strong enough. And I know this route sounds maybe just redundant to what I typically advise, but understand we're going for the real root causes. We're facing all of it head on. We're not gonna play whack-a-mole anymore. Got it. Oh, nope, now it's here. Oh, nope, now it's here. Oh, we need full hip mobility. We need a strong back. And if your nerve pain is going to heal and alleviate without surgery and the conservative treatment, it's going to be through building. That is your best bet. So I understand how hard this can be. Nerve pain puts people to bed rest, it puts them in depression, it takes their life away. It's arguably one of the toughest parts about back pain. And it's not even truly back pain. It's not the spine. So there's a lot of stuff I could say about trying to reframe it, about being present, not buying into it, but truly just know this is not the end. This is not your existence forever. If you've even had one pain-free moment, if you've had nerve pain for 30 days in a row, and then one day it was actually better, and it went right back afterwards, just know that's a sign you can get out of this. If you experience even a moment where it's better, that means better is possible. We don't know what happened in that moment. Our goal is to build so that's sustainably gonna be like that. But it's very easy after so long to just be like, this is my life. And just pound painkillers or try to schedule the surgery and hope that's gonna fix it. Could it? Maybe. Could you still have the problem afterwards? Maybe. So there's a lot of factors, even somatics, even from psychology, the pain pathways of nerves, the neurology from the nervous system, where it expects pain. There's a lot of people that talk about that better than I could. It's a big, jumbled, messy experience, but I'm going to encourage you to play the long game and to never even think about giving up. My DMs are open. I try to talk to you guys as much as I can. I know it's not easy. And yeah, realize there is a way out though. Nerve pain has causes, even if you can't see them, even if they don't show up on MRIs. If you fixed your problem but you still have the pain, there's other things to address, and I'm trying to give you the best overall holistic approach. So this is just one episode on nerve pain. It's not going to be the only one I do. And I appreciate you listening to this unfiltered, unorganized lecture on it. I'm really here to help, not even to be an expert. I just want to talk to you guys about the stuff you need to hear about. So I'll be back tomorrow. New topic. We'll talk about nerves more. I hope you get something from here that could really help you. Peace.